Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, chapter 931 of One Piece is out. So if you haven't checked out that chapter yet, I suggest that you do so because I will be spoiling you. Now that you have, let's begin. Oh boy guys, this chapter, gotta take a breath after this one. This chapter was immensely hype, but the end has a lot of people feeling a kind of way. And so yeah, before we talk about Sanji and his raid suit, Robin and the other group introduced in this chapter, let's just talk about the end and Big Mom, because that is, honestly guys, what I'm most interested in discussing right now. So you obviously read the end of the last chapter. What's funny about this, honestly guys, is after the last chapter, my first reaction to what would happen with Big Mom is that she would follow the exact same pathway as Luffy, having their ship was sunk above the waterfall, then Big Mom would get drawn into the whirlpool and essentially drift ashore to Wano just as Luffy did. But then I made a video which is now almost completely irrelevant, where I was convinced that Big Mom did not fall into the whirlpool but rather below the waterfall and would essentially be trapped outside of Wano. But lo and behold, in this chapter she does drift ashore. Rip that video. Just a reminder that gut reactions are more often than not actually right. And so Chopper and some of the others discover Big Mom face down on the sand, and we're just waiting for the plot twist, and it arrives. Big Mom has amnesia. She does not even remember who she is. I don't know how I feel about that one. And this has angered, upset, pissed off, or generally have people a little bit concerned. So for those who read the chapter and didn't find anything concerning about it, for those who've already sort of been immersed in a discussion about this and want to know my thoughts on it, let me sort of explain both sides and my opinion. First things first, you have the people dating all the way back from Whole Cake Island who do not like the way that Big Mom and her crew have been portrayed. Compared to all of the other Yonko, Big Mom is noticeably less hype. That is just a fact in my opinion. That is not to say that Big Mom is significantly weaker or weaker at all than any of them, but the way that they have been characterized in the story by Oda is clearly different. While the Yonko themselves have been hyped up in this story to an unbelievable degree, and Oda has specifically gone to absurd lengths to build up the hype for every other Yonko, what he has been doing for the past 100 or more chapters of the Big Mom Pirates is he has been trying to find ways to nerf them. But of course, Oda does not have no reason to do this. The big difference between the Big Mom Pirates and every other Yonko is the role in the story that Oda has planned for them. In order to have the Straw Hats justifiably go into Whole Cake Island with half of their members and escape alive, a lot of crazy things needed to happen, and the cost of this was the perception of the Big Mom Pirates. Oda had to have them make mistakes here or there. He had to make certain members not contribute as much as maybe they should have. He had to find ways to make Big Mom far less effective than she would be normally. And in the process, he had this objective to make the Strats befriend many members of the Big Mom Pirates themselves, which ultimately meant that these members betrayed Big Mom. And for a lot of people, the icing on the cake here to sort of stir up their rage is Big Mom's amnesia. They want Big Mom to be treated as the rest of the Yonko, to be endlessly hyped and not nerfed. My perspective on this, guys, is that not only do I not care about this, I actually enjoy what Oda is doing because I like the diversity of the roles in the stories that the Yonko are playing. And I also honestly like how unpredictable, or maybe unpredictable is the wrong words, but how chaotic the Big Mom storyline is. Honestly, guys, I think that a lot of people are getting caught up in their own expectations of what a Yonko has to be, and in the process limited what Oda is able to do. Now granted, Oda himself has sort of, fostered this perception of the Yonko. But for us as a community to generalize them and put them all inside of a box that they must operate within, to me seems ridiculous. Like for instance the Shichibukai, perhaps not hyped up as much as the Yonko, but still ridiculously hyped up at the beginning of the story. Look at them now, look at all the membership. Are they all just like Mihawk? Are they all just like Doflamingo? Absolutely not. A Shichibukai is Edward Weevil, who is an idiot, overpowered as he may be, is an idiot. Honestly, a great comparison to Big Mom, or even Buggy or Moria. It's just my opinion, guys, that we should let Oda write the story. Not every Yonko arc has to be a carbon copy of the other. Oda has a specific plan for the Big Mom Pirates, their role in the story, and in the process of achieving his objectives, yes, the Big Mom Pirates at certain instances look worse than the other Yonko crew. That's a story for you. This just creates a diversity of experience within the story I am a fan of. Honestly, to me, it is a little bit annoying that everybody expects all of the Yonko to be exactly the same when we do not expect the same of nearly every single group within the One Piece story, be it Shichibukai or even the Admirals, right? Like Kizaru compared to Akainu, Kizaru was for the most part inept in his story arc, and we don't bash Kizaru. Dude literally off-screened himself from the majority of the Sabaody arc because he didn't realize that he had multiple Denden Mushi in his pocket. And then when it actually came time to achieve something, he got distracted midway and ended up fighting Rayleigh and doing nothing. Things that make you go, Big Mom plays that kind of role within the Yonko. That being said, I don't have an issue with this. I do still have an issue with Big Mom's amnesia. And my explanation for this, and I think that a lot of people may have felt the same way, but I'm going to try and describe it as best as I can, even if people don't agree with me. But when it comes to writing a story and being a storyteller, being a mangaka, essentially you're like a puppeteer. Think of like Doflamingo with little strings controlling the various actions and characters within the story, manipulating them subtly and ideally invisibly. As you're reading this chapter and you got to that moment where Big Mom revealed that she has amnesia, I think that there's a distinct feeling of being yanked within the story, like Big Mom's character being yanked in a completely opposite direction by the string trailing from her to Oda's finger. It almost takes you outside of the story itself, I would say in kind of a comical way, and collapses some of the immersion. I think in this instance it was far too obvious that Oda was manipulating Big Mom and the plot going forward, like in an unnatural way. Now, full disclosure guys, Oda does this all the time, in times that we don't even think about it. Like for instance, think of how Sanji ended up in Whole Cake Island, and the Strats really. Because of the Vinsmokes, the newly introduced Vinsmokes wanted to marry their own son into the Big Mom Pirates. That is as contrived as nearly anything else in the story, but you never saw people complain about it. You have to do these kinds of things to make a story interesting and to incorporate new elements into the plot. But you have to be very, very, very careful about how you do this. And in my opinion guys, in this instance, Oda acted on a story that was just way too obvious. I guess for me, it was almost like watching a soap opera. In my experience guys, amnesia is one of the most generic plot twists slash plot devices that can be used, and as a general rule should never be used. Not seriously. That is not to say that it cannot be done right, but in this case Oda did not do it right. So I see a lot of people who have concerns after reading the end of this chapter, and guys, I'm going to be frank with you, I think that the concerns are legit. In fact, I think that we are past the point of no return. There may be some super intricate, complicated reason for Big Mom's amnesia that ties to the future of the story that makes this a lot more easy to swallow. But I really doubt it. What I think happened is that while Big Mom was drowning, she could not breathe. Asphyxiation can cause memory loss. That is how Oda will rationalize it, and this part of the story, unfortunately, will be forever made. But I think that if you've read One Piece enough, you know that Oda is a proponent of the ends justify the means. Yes, he unironically used amnesia as a plot device in the One Piece story. That is not ideal, but this is definitely going somewhere interesting. And I myself would prefer that and take that rather than Oda not incorporating some new element in the story at all. And that'll make this moment worth it, even as a contrived plot device. But yeah, as you guys will all know, I believe that Big Mom will become an ally, and that is the main reason for incorporating this in the story. It is oh so perfect for that, but we will talk about that in a separate video outside of my first reaction, because there's a lot of things to say. And yes, I understand that I may be a little bit glass half full rather than half empty compared to most people, because I've been arguing for this theory for the longest time. This is a scene that I personally got a lot of enjoyment from purely because of I told you so reasons, so that makes me most likely biased. But I can tell you guys in my own headcanon, if this is where the story is going, it is something that I personally, and I think you, should also be hyped for. Amnesia aside. But yeah, before we move on from Big Mom entirely, I think that a huge question that we should have outside of the controversy itself is, where are the Big Mom pirates? Is Big Mom the only one to have washed ashore? Are the Big Mom pirates essentially strewn across the shores of Wano, completely separated? Will they reconvene and try and track Big Mom down as she struggles to find her memories? That thought in and of itself has me hyped up. And in regards to Big Mom herself, I know that I've sort of been saying that Big Mom for Ally essentially confirmed now, but haven't really justified it in any way. Just as a general talking point, guys, what do you expect of Big Mom after this? It seems most likely to me that there will be friendship bonds formed between Big Mom and the Straw Hats before she regains her memories. I personally believe that Big Mom is inherently good-natured. Without holding a grudge against the Straw Hats, she's likely to act as she did in her childhood, in my opinion. The Big Mom who accidentally killed the bear because she just wanted the bear and the wolf to stop fighting. I think we're about to see a whole new Big Mom. One without nearly 70 years of built-up traumatic experience. But yeah, we really got to move on from Big Mom, or this video is going to be 40 minutes long and you're not going to see it until next Thursday. Let's talk about Sanji and his raid suit. Sanji versus Page 1. This chapter was oh so satisfying. Oh, so many people had lost faith in Sanji, but Oda was not done with him yet. The raid suit is fire. Oda giving Sanji the power of camouflage or the power of invisibility is so perfect in a multitude of different ways. First off, that is Sanji's dream ability for perverted reasons, obviously, but it also ties back to his childhood and his want to escape from his family. And even from the Vinsmoke's own perspective, they also wanted Sanji to disappear. When you think about it, this power is just too fitting, it's genius. And so after the last chapter, a lot of people were rabbling that Sanji said he would never use the Vinsmoke technology and it's far too soon and there's not been enough setup, but I think that Sanji and Oda made the right decision here. You're in Wano, you're facing up against the Yonko, Kaido, you have to use every power or ability at your disposal. Sanji owes this to his crew. To choose to not use the raid suit for personal reasons is selfish and annoying. Now granted, doing so would not be out of character, because if you guys recall back to the Enies Lobby arc where Sanji faced off against Khalifa, that would be very similar to this situation, where he chose his own sort of morals over that of the Straw Hats, potentially to the detriment of the entire crew. That was annoying, I hated that. To me, in some small way, Sanji has grown. Just because you use their technology does not make you an official member of German 66, nor does it suggest that you support them or what it is that they stand for. And honestly, you can take this moment to actually do some good with it. And I think where Oda's going with this in the story is that the Vinsmokes were not always as bad as they are today, and Sanji is going to help restore their image. And so yeah guys, I was kind of hoping that Sanji would dispose of Page 1 relatively quickly, but it seems like the main purpose of Oda introducing the raid suit now is so Sanji can become accustomed to its abilities. I do think that he is considerably stronger than Page 1, but I do think that the fight is going to last long enough for potentially the other members of Kaido's crew to arrive, such as Drake and Hawkins, etc. So unfortunately, I do fear whether or not this will finally be Sanji's long-awaited W. For me guys, the best case scenario is that Sanji thrashes Page 1 just a little bit until the other members of Kaido's crew arrives, and then Sanji essentially has to go invisible and dip. But he's not given enough time to straight up defeat and remove Page 1 from the story arc. It would be really depressing if Sanji ends up getting captured. Again, best case scenario, and what I really hope happens is that what Sanji does here creates sort of a mythos or lore surrounding his identity, who he is to the citizens of Wano, like he's almost a hero. But yeah, if it does turn out that Sanji ends up being defeated or captured when all the other beast pirates arrived, I do not even want to be present for that shitstorm. I don't even want to think about it. The community will not react kindly to that. Even if I personally have not that much issue with it and feel as though I can rationalize it and don't really hold it against Sanji, it's time for Sanji to walk away with a definitive W. In my opinion, Sanji has bigger fish to fry than page 1. I personally believe that at some point he has to match up with a Calamity. And I wouldn't be surprised if he was defeated at first then, so he kind of needs a morale victory at the very least, in between. But yeah, let's switch gears a little bit. As you guys will know, I've been pushing the theory of Zoro leaving the crew for some time, a theory that a lot of people do not like at all. But one of the major cogs in that theory is the idea that Zoro is not too happy with Sanji. Nor will he be happy when he finds out that Big Mom has arrived in Wano, / Pedro has died, / what Sanji actually did to Luffy, how he disrespected him in Whole Cake Island. And so I've been curious as to when Zoro and Sanji will actually meet up and what they will say, and curious as to why Oda has continuously dodged that. Well, in this chapter we can see everybody that Sanji was with go to Abisu Town, where Zoro is, and the only person left behind is, guess who? Sanji. I'm telling you guys, this is important. Oda is postponing it for a reason. Even if you guys don't want to go so far as to suggest that Zoro may leave the crew, I think that at the very least you have to acknowledge that Zoro's dissatisfaction with Luffy's decision to go to Whole Cake Island and Sanji's decision to go to Whole Cake Island will become a major part of Wano. But yeah, probably to avoid mass dislikes, let's move on for the moment. The last bit of this chapter that I want to talk about is Robin, and so she's searching for clues about the poneglyphs, which she expects to find, and I really hope that she does, but as she does, she gets caught by the Orochi Oniwabanshu. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but man, these ninjas are, the designs are just wonderful. Oh my god, so hype. This name actually might be familiar to other anime fans out there because this was also the name of a group in Rurouni Kenshin. And both of these were actually based on a real historical group, which were secret undercover agent spy ninja samurais, specifically tasked with guarding the shogun. But yeah, I wish that we had more to speculate here, guys. I mean, they're here, clearly they're going to do something, maybe they will be an opponent of somebody. I'm not entirely sure. All I know is that their existence in the story has me incredibly hyped. And right now, not gonna lie guys, I fear for Robin's safety. But I will say this, out of any of the Straw Hats who would be in this situation, the only one that I would really bet on to find a way, using words to get out of it, would be Robin. But yeah guys, this was just so much to take in one chapter. I mean, if somebody made a prediction of what they thought was going to happen in chapter 931 based on 930, every chapter beforehand in Wano, nobody would have guessed this. We got so many new elements. And I'm sitting here trying to wrap my mind around the possibilities. But yeah, as always guys, let me know if you agree with anything that I had to say, whether you noticed something that I may have missed. Just share your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content. And as always guys, have a wonderful day.